Good morning, guys. Rick Shaw here. It's the 16th of August 2021. We've got another beautiful day. A little bit hazy, but and you can feel the heat of the sun. It's only about 78 degrees now, or 30, something like that Celsius. The humidity meter's down to about 55, so that's, I guess, low for here. Beautiful day, but Tabo Tom is back. Absolutely no water again upstairs. Had to carry a bucket up to flush because the boy used the bathroom. He's, Bubba, won't flush the tank. I had flushed it when I went, and then I went downstairs. He used it, and then he's back to the buckets again in a brand new house. And if you guys would put up with that, I don't. There's not much you can do here. The water people got one job, that's to supply water, and they can't do that. And it's frustrating, guys, let me tell you. You know, just, is it too much to ask to be able to get a shower? You know, that's just silly. But Tabo Tom's back. My sweetie and I took a big hike this morning. That's the first one she took with me, and we were walking pretty fast. So we got all done. She said, I'm tired. But did want to talk a little bit about when you're here. Now, this ain't me complaining. I'm just going to let you know how it is here. But if you're a guy who likes to fix stuff like me, when you go to get hardware, don't say you're going to run up to the hardware store and get what you need. Just don't even think that. Definitely take a Filipino with you, a pencil and paper so you can draw them pictures. Most of these kids in the hardware store have no idea what the product is. Some of them do. When I was at Wilcon Depot, there was a young gentleman in there. I always seek him out because he knows his stuff. He knows where everything's in the store. Going to be a manager one day. He's a good guy. But we went to this other hardware store that I won't go to again. I walked in there a couple days ago, wanted a lead anchor, and I forget what the name of it is in Tagalog. Told them, and the guys, no, we don't have. Okay, you don't have them, I'll have to go somewhere else. So I'm looking for a few other things. I needed an angle plug that I can put on some cords, just different things. And I'm walking up and down the aisles just to familiarize myself with the store. They got a lot of stuff there, furniture down in the basement, and it seems like a decent store. And there's a whole wall of lead anchors. So they'll just tell you they don't have them. So I got them, and I needed a couple more. They only had two that were the size I needed, and I don't have the bit big enough. So yesterday, our friends came up from Cavite. They had like a pass to get through. Their son needed a passport, and it's right around here. So they came for a visit yesterday. It's nice to have you guys. And they were going to ride a Jeep me. I said, no, I'll pick them up. I got to go to the hardware store anyway. So the first hardware store that was the same one, I wanted to see if they had more. So I walked in there. Sure enough, they had restocked. So I grabbed a couple of them. I'm standing in line. I was the second person to go in the store right when it opened. And I get in there, and I went up to the window, and the kid said, no, sir, you got to go stand over there. Okay, so now, you know, they're back to these rules of standing in certain spots. So I'm standing over there, and 15 minutes, I'm not kidding you, 15 minutes goes by. They couldn't get their registers up and running. And I said, hey, buddy, I'll just give you cash. You guys can ring it up after I go. Oh, no, sir, can't do that. All right, so I'm waiting. Well, then the two young fellows come up, and they just walked up to the window and started ringing their stuff out. So I looked at that dude. I'm like, what's up with that? Oh, we'll just wait. You wait. So I'm standing there. Finally, those guys check out, so I walk up to the window, and they said, no, sir, go stand over there. Oh, here I go again. Well, some lady walked up, and she had a couple fans, and she was getting some stuff, had it on like a little cart. And they walked right up to the window and checked out. So that was enough for me. I put the stuff down on the chair and walked out of the store. And you run into that here. I don't think it's really cool. I won't be spending a dime in that store ever again. I don't care what they got. You know, I'll pay more somewhere else maybe. But we left there. We went up to the first, right up the road. There's another hardware store. But it's one of these hardware stores you don't walk into. You have to go to the window, and it's all plasticky off and all this. So I asked the lady for lead anchors, and it's tale or whatever they call it. I forget what the name was again. I had it written down on a piece of paper. No stock. Okay, so I'm with our friends, and there's another hardware store right up the street. Another one of these ones you don't walk in. So I went in there and showed her the picture of one I wanted. She's no stock. So we got back to the car, and our friend Greg said, no, let me go back with you. So he went in there. Sure enough, they had a bucket of the dang things, just what I needed. But they'll tell you, bring a Filipino with you, or get them to tell you what a certain thing's called, because their pat answer here, what they'll tell you is no stock. It's just what they do here when you're a foreigner living here and you haven't learned the language. I should have learned it, but slow but sure, I guess. But that's what you're going to run into here. Plus the people that will get in front of you in lines and stuff like that, and they don't care. They're just like you wait. And I just seemed it was kind of rude that they do this to you. I don't, when you go to buy something here, it's been like this every time since we bought this house, and I go to buy hardware. It's just ridiculous. Now, when we lived in GMA, we had a hardware store guy right up the street. Anything you wanted. His English was really good. I used to go up and chit-chat with him. Nice fella, him and his wife, and they had their kids working there. Anything you wanted, he had. You name it. And if you didn't have it, when the truck comes, I'm gonna get that for you, and I'd have it the next day. I mean, he was really good, but that's a long way off now. But here in Lipa City, it's just getting to be ridiculous with the helpers. They hire these young people that don't know hardware. Now, when I was in the States, if you went in to get something, you could either find it yourself quickly, or they had a dude that was a retired electrician or a retired plumber, and they would even tell you better ways to do what you're doing. Oh, what exactly you're doing? I was doing some plumbing once. I redid plumbing, and I was going to tie my neighbors in while I had the ditch out, because it was old terracotta pipe, and it was deep. And I said, I'm coming from the house, and I want to connect. And he said, oh, no, you need this. And you better go with this size drain and this. And he told me how to do it, and also how to connect it to the main sewer drain in the street. The best way to do it. So, and I was a plumber, but I hadn't gotten to that point. So the job went real smooth. We refilled the hole. He even told me how to put sand around it. He said, get yourself sand and cover it up like a little pyramid over the pipe, and then throw your dirt in, and then throw in a couple feet of dirt, water it, and then go like that. We didn't have any settling. And then what I did, a couple months later, after it really settled in and I filled it up good, and I threw gravel in on top, and then we concreted over that with the walk. And I put good 4-inch Schedule 80 drains in. And while I was there, I threw it in for the neighbor, because his was busted up too, and they were having problems with their drain. And what we did was we tied it right in. I didn't run 2 pipes out, because they were doing common connections between the 2 houses all the way up the street, and they said, no, you can only have 1 pipe going in. And then, of course, I was going to drop a 90 in from the top, and the guy says, no, you'll have trouble. We're going to go ahead and he says, you could even use one of your electrical sweeps. I actually had a hot box where I just took a piece of pipe and I bent it on a real gentle 45, because the guy was telling me when you start getting too much of a drop, then the water goes and the poo-poo stops. So I was like, okay. So we did over the thing, we only did barely a half an inch of drop over the distance we had to go. And he said that's a formula. He even wrote it down for me. And that's what you get there. Here, they get these real young people in there that have no idea. Like in this country, if you see toggle bolts, buy a bunch of them. Just buy a whole bunch, because no hardware stores have them. I even asked the guy in the store, I said, well, you're selling all these ceiling fans. How do you expect to hang them all? They put drywall up for ceilings. They never put the wood up like I had asked. They didn't charge me for it, so that was cool, but they didn't put it there. So the only way I had to hang these lights, I had to chop a hole and then slide a piece of long, skinny wood in so that I could screw into that. Still not strong enough for a ceiling fan. But even if they'd have brought me some steel down, something. But the only way to put a ceiling fan in here now would be to chop a good-sized hole in the ceiling and then go anchor it into the concrete of the second floor. And that's a pretty good distance, and it's not something I'm willing to chop a big hole in and then I got to patch the ceiling. You know, it's just sad that I couldn't get done what I had asked for in the beginning. But I have a nice light for upstairs. When I was at the hardware store, I found some really nice drawer pulls. We got that nice thing for the living room, so I went ahead and I found these antique-looking drawer pulls, and I installed those. They're kind of nice. I really like them. They look cool. They kind of dressed up that cabinet a little bit, made it look a little bit higher end. So. And we like that. That's the kids. I was telling them this is only for certain stuff. The right side is chargers, electronics, and all that stuff. And then the other thing that was really cool that we got. Let me walk back in here. It came yesterday. It was only shipped to the house. It was 167 pesos, and I'm really happy with it. It works. It works really good on this TV, this Samsung TV. If you have to type in, like if you're looking for a movie and you have to type in things, what you got to do is you got to click the little right arrow or left arrow and boom, boom, boom over the alphabet to find your letter. And I just not into doing that. So we found this little guy, and it's a lit keyboard for at night. Let's see if I can turn this on and get the lights to come on. There you go. There's the lights on it. You can see it really good. It works great. This is like the little touchpad, and then this is for this, but you can type in what you're looking for. And it's got a little tiny little tiny sending unit. You plug in the HDMI in the back of the TV, and there's 2 ports there. So I plugged it into one of the ports, and this thing connected right away, and we were using it yesterday, and I was like, man, this is really great. Instead of having a real big keyboard, I got a nice little tiny one. And the TV is a computer. You can go in and do your email. You can do anything on it, which is really cool. So I'm liking that. 167 pesos through Lazada. They actually have this. They have it anywhere from 320, 270, and you just, whenever you're looking at Lazada, keep scrolling down because they'll show you this exact same thing, but it's a less price. So I got it, and then they had a free shipping thing on it. So I punched that. You have to actually punch those, because when you go to add things up, all of a sudden the price is higher. And I'm like, whoa! So I forgot. I had to go back, take them out, put them back in, and punch the vouchers in. So I got some pretty cool. That's pretty cool technology. And the cool thing about this one is it has the same battery as our little cell phones. Plus, if you take this battery out, there's a place for 2 AA in case if you're rechargeable ones. But it just plugs in the regular phone thing. I think for 167 pesos, we got a bargain and a half. It works exactly as advertised, and I'm digging it. I'm really liking it because we were watching a movie. I wanted to punch in, and I was able to do it real quick. And also my daughter, she's learning how to type and read and all this kind of stuff. So I get her to punch it in, and she's getting pretty good at her spelling and stuff. We had her over at this girl over here as a tutor, and then my wife and I both agreed we're done with them. She was down at the school over here, and we're going to see if we can find one of the teachers that'll come out, because they won't up her game. She was doing, when we were in Carmona, she was already doing division in mathematics, and the only thing this girl's showing her is addition, and she's getting them all right. I mean, you move on. Once they got it, you move to the next thing. Their brains are little sponges, and she just wasn't picking up the game. We actually had the thing my daughter was having a problem with up until a couple of days ago when I got her a wristwatch. She was having trouble learning the time. Now she just looks at her watch and tells you what time it is right away. She's got it now. She learned it. It just took the watch. Something that interested her, and she picked it up real quick. But she had 10 clocks where they had the time is 12:37, and then Dorothy was supposed to put the little hand in and then the big hand in, and she had it marked down that there was one wrong. And okay, and I went and checked it, and there were 8 wrong out of the 10. They were just wrong. So I helped her fix all of those. And this is why you got to watch your teachers. And I'm thinking, this is just a typical millennial girl. They know digital clock, but they don't know, a regular clock with hands on it, an analog clock. So everything is digital now. So that was something I was kind of bummed. And after my wife and I talked about it, she said, for what we're paying for the kids, it's too much. Now, Moo, what she's teaching him is good, because he's a quick study. My goodness, even the mother and father over there were saying they couldn't believe how quick his mind is. So I mean, he just picks. He's going to have a breeze in school just like I did. When I went through school, I had it. I mean, they'd give me a concept or an idea, and I had it. But I was very fortunate. I had uncles that were. There was one uncle worked at a boiler place, was a welder, so I got to go with him. I had another uncle I stayed with a couple summers when I was young. He ran an apartment building, so I got to learn how to do plumbing. This is when I was real little. And and they were letting me help them. Here, you do it. And I remember when I first started welding, I looked like bubble gum, but my uncle was real cool. So he just was very understanding, and he was a good teacher. He didn't get mad about anything. And then he brought me into his work, and we were going to cut a top plate for this boiler. And I didn't know on the acetylene torch you had to push this button. I was melting, and I melted this whole plate up, and he come over, oh, you got to push the button. And then once I pushed the button, whoa, boy, this thing cut beautiful. But he also taught me how to cut with a welding rod, which was really neat. So I had understanding people to get me started. I think the teachers also were pretty good. I saw some stuff on YouTube where the kids, this is older videos where the kids actually had their phone turned on, their little camera, and the teachers were hollering at the kids. And that's a mistake, guys. You start hollering, you're going to get them to shut down, and then it's going to be impossible for them to learn. You have to be understanding. Kids are going to make a mistake. It was like my wife was a little bit tiff last night because they spilled water while they were eating dinner. You know how I'm like that. Kids spill stuff. I did. You just try to minimize it. Teach them to put the water glass up in front of their plate, not right where their arms are. That's what you got to do. If they start doing that stuff, it's your fault, not theirs, because you're not showing them. Kids pick up stuff on their own, a lot of stuff, but some stuff they just don't. You think they're super smart in one area, and then they're big dummies in the other. They're kids. You have to work with that, and I don't have a problem working with them. I was very lucky on both sides. Uncles on my mother's and my father's side were very understanding. My one uncle, heck, he had me out at his place puttying windows and cutting glass. I remember for a short while I worked in a window factory cutting glass, and I already knew how to do it. They're going to send a guy over to train me. I don't need trained. I was cutting glass when I was 8 years old. I was lucky to be real handy. Then there was a fellow, my dad had a handyman that used to come to our house. His name was Little Joe. Little tiny old guy, way older than my parents at the time, grandpa's age. And he wore coveralls, and he would come, anything that went wrong in the house, he was the guy to fix it. Any additions were needed or anything. And I used to hang with him. I loved to go hang with him when none of my brothers wanted to. And he was another guy that just was easy going, and he liked that I spent time with him, and I'd help him out. And I got to see, like one time he was ripping a wall out because there was a problem in the plumbing. I didn't know what was behind that wall. I got to find out what was behind that wall. That interested me. So that's why I got into construction. But we got the guys over here. They're all working again. They got the supervisor was here. Well, he's still over there, and they're getting her done. I see they're using on that roof. They're using a real light steel. So that seems. I like the solid ones they did for the guys' awning over there. We definitely want to get an awning up here, but things are good. But we're having a beautiful day again. I just wished we would have had a shower. Just my little walk out here. I got out of the Tabo, and then I'm sweaty again. But beautiful day, guys. We made it through Friday the 13th without a problem. And this is Tabo Tom, out.